Did you ever want to know how the military cover up alien crashed craft? Well, I will go through the SOM101 with you in the next few videos, and that is nothing to do with the Bible. It's called Special Operations Manual 101, and this was a booklet that was given to military people by the military for what happens to a crashed craft and what they have to do, what procedures they have to do and follow. And this particular one was photographed, and the negatives were sent to, I think, a radio host back in the 60s, possibly. And this is all verified by top researchers such as Linda Moulton Howe as a genuine operations manual. Now, with this, it covers all sorts of things about security and what they do to people like me and you that are too close to a crashed site. So keep watching, you'll find it fascinating. Following on from our previous video about special operations manuals with aliens, now Harry Truman, president, set up a thing called MJ-12, which was originally 12 people that would go and find out what the military were doing behind Truman's back with regards to aliens. They were setting up bases such as Area 51, etc. So MJ-12 eventually, once they all sorted themselves out, started to create this special operations manual, which, as you see here, talks about biological entities. Now, we call them aliens, they call them biological entities. And as you see here, it says that was taken very serious, and basically because they obviously had aliens, so that's why they're taken very, very seriously. So as I carry on going through these videos, I will explain what these are talking about. There's a thing called cosmic clearance and majestic eyes only. So they are the top highest. You know they're real alien craft. And what does the SOM, which is Special Operations Manual 101, say about these type of craft? Now, the SOM 101 was given to American military personnel when they had to go and retrieve or hush up an area that a UFO had crashed. So let's have a look at this one. So this is elliptical or disc shaped. The type of craft is of a metallic construction and dull aluminium in colour. They have the appearance of two pie pans or shallow dishes pressed together and may have a raised dome on the top or on the bottom. No seams or joints are visible on the surface, giving the impression it's a one-piece construction. Now, prior to us having printed 3D printers, we wouldn't have been able to do a one-piece construction, but now we can actually, if we had a big enough printer, we can actually now do 3D printing in metal. Following on from my previous videos about the disc-shaped UFOs that are real, so the SOM 101, the operations manual, carries on and says, talks about the diameter of the craft, etc., etc. And then it's interesting, it talks here about the dome may or may not include windows or ports, and the ports are present around the lower rim of the disc in some instances. Most disc-shaped craft are equipped with lights on the top and bottom, which clearly means some are not, which means there's so many different types of these disc-shaped ones. The lights are not visible when the craft is at resting or not functioning. There are generally no visible antenna or projections. Landing gear consists of 3 extendable legs ending in circular landing pads. Now, if anyone knows their history on Rendlesham Forest, that's exactly what they had, landing pads. When fully extended, the landing gear supports the main body 2 to 3 feet above. You know we call these alien greys, but what did the military call them back in 1947? Well, they called them, according to the SOM 101 Special Operations Manual, watch my other videos, EBEs, which is extraterrestrial biological entities. They had two different types at that point. So I'm just going to read out type 1 for now. The entities are humanoid and might be mistaken for human beings of an oriental race if seen from a distance. They are bipedal, 5 to 5 foot 4 inches in height, and weigh 80 to 100 pounds. Proportionally, they are similar to humans, although their cranium is somewhat larger and more rounded, that's their head. The skin is pale chalky yellow in colour, thick and slightly pebbled in appearance. Their eyes are small, wide-set, almond-shaped, with brownish black irises with very large pupils. Now, a lot of people don't understand. They have these basically sunglasses, which is a membrane which has technology built into them to help them because they come from a different planet. Following on from my last video where I'm explaining what the American military thought of alien greys back in the 40s from the SOM101 Special Operations Manual. So I'm just going to carry on now. The whites of their eyes are not like that of humans, but they have a pale grey cast. Their ears are small and set low to the skull. The nose is thin and long, and the mouth is wider than in humans and nearly lipless. There is no apparent facial hair and very little body hair, that being very fine and confined to the underarm and groin area. The body is thin and without apparent body fat, which is interesting. The muscles are well developed. The hands are small with 4 digits but no opposable thumb. The outside digit is joined in a manner as it's nearly opposable, which is really weird. And there is no webbing between the fingers as in humans. The legs are slightly but noticeable. You heard in the other videos the type 1 extraterrestrial biological entity. Well, this is type 2 now. The entities are humanoid but differ from type 1 in many respects. They are bipedal, 3 to 5 inches to 4 foot 2 inches in height and weigh 25 to 50 pounds. Proportionally, the head is much larger than humans or even the type 1 EBEs. The cranium being much larger and elongated, which is a real key there, the word elongated. The eyes are very large, slanted and nearly wrap around the side of the skull. They are black with no whites showing. There is no noticeable brow ridge and the skull has a slight peak that runs over the crown. The nose consists of 2 small slits which sit high above the slit-like mouth. There are no external ears. The skin is pale bluish grey in colour, being somewhat darker on the back of the creature. Continuing on the type 2 aliens that the government have actually written about and in the SOM101, which is Special Operations Manual. So I'm carrying on with type 2 here. There are no external ears. The skin is pale bluish in colour, somewhat darker on the back of the creature, and is very smooth and fine-celled. There is no hair on either the face or the body, and these creatures do not appear to be mammalian. The arms are long in proportion to the legs, and the hands have 3 long tapering fingers and a thumb, which is nearly as long as the fingers. The second finger is thicker than the others, but not as long as the index finger. The feet are small and narrow, and 4 toes are joined together with a membrane. It is not definitely known where this type of creature originates, but it seems certain that they did not evolve on Earth. It's further evident that although... Do you want to know what the secret military thought of the alien craft that crashed in the 40s? Well, the Special Operations Manual that they gave out to Army personnel actually talks about the type of technology they had. So I'll just read a paragraph here. Initially, the analysis of the debris from the crash site seems to indicate that the debris is that of an extraterrestrial craft which exploded from within and came into contact with the ground with great force, completely destroying the craft. The volume of matter indicates that the craft was approximately the size of a light normal aircraft, medium aircraft, although the weight of the debris shows that it was extremely light for its size. Metallurgical analysis of the bulk of the debris recovered indicates that the samples are not composed of any materials currently known to terrestrial science. So there you go. That is proof right there. Following on from my previous video where I'm explaining what the military knew about crash craft back in the 40s, this is from the Special Operations Manual 101, which they give out to only certain people that are allowed to go near crashed craft, etc. So I'm just going to carry on reading here. Much of the material having the appearance of aluminum foil. Now, if anyone remembers the Roswell crash incident, Jesse Marcel actually picked up aluminum foil, what he thought was aluminum foil, and he could crunch it with his hand and then let go, and it would go back to the original state, which is quite interesting. Displays none of the characteristics of aluminum, basically, resembling instead some kind of unknown plastic-like material. This is in the 40s, this was written by military. Solid structures and substantial beams have been beams having a distinct similarity in appearance to very dense grain-free wood. The government will lie to us when a crashed alien craft comes down, and that's because they have a manual which is called Special Operations Manual. I'm just going to read it here. Press blackout. Great care must be taken to preserve the security of any location where extraterrestrial technology might be retrievable for scientific study. Extreme measures must be taken to protect and preserve the material from the craft from discovery, examination or removal by civilian agencies or individuals of the general public. It is therefore recommended that a total press blackout be initiated whenever possible. Now, they own the press, so don't have no mistake when you're told stuff on the news. They tell you what they want you to hear. If this course of action should not prove feasible, the following cover stories are suggested for release to the press. The office in charge will act quickly to select a cover story that best fits your situation. It should be remembered that when selecting a cover story, the official policy regarding UFO. Do you want to know what kind of liar we're told when a UFO has just crashed and they want to cover it up? Well, going back to the Special Operations Manual here, following on from last video, it should be remembered that when selecting a cover story, the official policy regarding UFOs is that they do not exist. Okay, so the first one, official denial. Most desirable response would be that nothing unusual occurred, by stating that the government has no knowledge of the event. Further investigations by the public press may be forestalled. In other words, they stop people from learning stuff. Discredit witnesses. Now, how many people have said that they've seen crash craft or UFOs, etc.? If at all possible, witnesses will be held incommunicado until the extent of their knowledge and involvement is determined. Witnesses will be discouraged from talking about what they have seen, and intimidation may be necessary to ensure their cooperation. See? Don't try. Following on from our previous video about what happens if you see a UFO, and this is in the Special Operations Manual on what they do to us. If witnesses have already contacted the press, it will be necessary to discredit their stories. This can be best done by the assertion that they have either misrepresented natural events, are the victims of hysteria or hallucinations, or are the perpetrators of hoaxes. Deceptive statements. It may become necessary to issue false statements to preserve the security of the site. Meteorites, downed satellites, weather balloons, and military aircraft are all acceptable alternatives, although in the case of a downed military aircraft statement, care should be excised not to suggest that the aircraft might be an experiment or a secret, as this might cause more curiosity, blah blah blah. So hopefully you're all understanding now, this is their game plan. Many newspapers have said that UFOs have caused radiation poisoning to people, and the Special Operations Manual actually agrees with that, which this was done in 1947 and given to the military to go after these crash craft. As soon as communication is established, removal and transport of the material will be commenced under orders from MJ12. If the situation permits, care should be taken and documented the area with photographs before anything is moved. The area will be checked for radiation and other toxic agents. If the area cannot be kept secure for an extended period of time, all materials must be packed and transported as quickly as possible to the nearest secure military facility. This will be accomplished by covered transport using little travelled roads. Now, this talks about complete or functional craft. Craft are to be approached with extreme caution if they appear functional, as serious injury may result from exposure to, yes, you guessed it, radiation. It's a good question, but you have to use a bit of logic. So Bigfoot's at 8 to 10 foot tall, which is massive. They weigh more than us. So even if we found one, I wouldn't be able to carry it myself. You'd need quite a few people to drag it along. And they're 10 times as strong as humans, and they have actually twisted people's necks 360 degrees to kill them. There's police records of that. So really the only way you're going to capture a Bigfoot is if you've got a gun and you kill it and you've got loads of people with you and a truck fairly nearby, or you've got a tranquilizer gun. But again, normal people don't carry tranquilizer guns, so really the only people that would be able to capture a Bigfoot and transport it away would be the army. And if you think the army hasn't already captured a Bigfoot many years ago and learnt everything they can about it, then I've got some fresh air to sell you.